In the latest example of Ron DeSantis showing he's simply not ready for prime time and certainly not in a position to actually win a Republican primary, which he may very well enter. There are now rumors that he will announce in the next week or so. Ron DeSantis was asked yesterday, did Trump lose in 2020? Can you just say, like, Trump lost? There wasn't all this fraud that Donald Trump talked about. And DeSantis weasels out and refuses to actually answer the question, instead talking about how there's a culture of losing in the Republican Party and blah, 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 blah. This is not a strategy that is going to win him the primary. I will explain why after we look at the clip. Listen to this. Standing for absolutely nothing. That should be Ron DeSantis's campaign motto.
You said during an event in Iowa over the weekend that the GOP needs to reject a culture of losing. Do you acknowledge that Trump lost and there wasn't all this fraud that he talks about?
Well, I look at the last however many election cycles. 2018, we lost the House. We lost the Senate. 2020, Biden becomes president. We lost the Senate in 2020. Biden becomes president and has done a huge amount of damage. Very unpopular in 2022. And we were supposed to have this big red wave. And other than like Florida and Iowa, I didn't see a red wave across this country. And so I think the party has developed a culture of losing. I think that there's not accountability. And I think in Florida, we really showed what it takes to not just win.
The question was, did Trump lose? These are not serious people.
Win big and then deliver big. And ultimately, when you're doing all this, what results are you producing for people? That's really what matters. You can sit there and talk about cable news, social media, all these other things.
That's not what the reporter was talking about. The reporter just said, did Trump lose?
Things that people are fixated on. And for me, it's like, okay, what's that true north? You obviously got to win. Otherwise, you don't get a ticket to the dance.
And did Trump win? You're not answering the question, sir.
Once you do that, how are you going to be able to actually bring about big change to make people's lives better? Next, yeah.
This is not going to cut it, my friends. This is wishy-washy, weak nonsense. DeSantis is probably afraid of alienating the loyal Trump base. And the loyal Trump base still seems to believe the obvious lie that Trump lost. The obvious lie that Trump won in 2020. They are unable to accept the reality that their guy simply didn't win. And so DeSantis is calculating, well, I can't just say, yeah, Trump lost and he should accept it because I might need some of those supporters. But the problem is that when you're asked, did Trump lose, and you rant for 80 seconds about the midterms and who the hell knows what else, you alienate every American who's sick and tired of the Trump lie that he actually won in 2020, which is, of course, almost every Democrat, the vast majority of independents, and many Republicans as well, although certainly not all. So DeSantis wants to have it both ways here. He wants to be seen as a great alternative to Trump, to the loyalists. And in order to do that, you have to sort of appeal to Trump's hardcore fans. But he also wants to be seen as the pragmatic leader who can win over moderates and independents and is willing to just talk in a sensible way. But he seems completely unable to do both. You can't be an alternative to Trump if you can't just acknowledge what happened in 2020. You can't be the leader of the future if you can't say definitively and clearly, the 2020 thing is over. Trump lost, Biden won, period. So DeSantis, I think, is going to need to make a choice if he wants to actually have a shot at this thing, which he may already not have. You either stand up to Trump and say, listen, we share some values, we disagree on others, but we need to ensure that there's a future for the Republican Party. We don't have that future if we keep dilly-dallying about just saying what needs to be said. We were beaten by Biden in 2020, right? That's one. No ambiguity, no evasion. We need clarity, honesty. I will never lie to you. And the truth is Trump lost. That's one approach. It probably infuriates a bunch of the loyalists. And therefore, there is no chance that they will even consider coming over to DeSantis. The other aspect to this is maybe what DeSantis is trying to do is just avoid the issue of 2020. Like, it could be calculated. It's not about, well, I don't want to offend the Trump loyalists or whatever, but he's just saying, I'm going to play dumb and ignore the issue altogether. The problem with that is you're not going to appeal to enough Republicans who want a fresh start and a new direction. You're not going to win back the people that Republicans lost with all of this lie BS if you don't very clearly inspire confidence by saying, I'm willing to simply tell the truth. And so it's really a problem for DeSantis. And of course, the bigger problem for DeSantis is a mathematical one, which is no matter which of these approaches he takes, the average polling right now is roughly Trump 53, DeSantis 23, plus or minus a couple points. And as I've said before, simple math. If Trump already has more than 50% of the Republican primary vote, DeSantis can't win. Even with every non-Trump vote, it would only get him to 47%. DeSantis somehow needs to get some Trump voters to switch to him. And I don't think this approach is going to help him. He may be popular in Florida. He's not ready for prime time. He's not ready to take on Biden, but never mind that. He's not even ready to take on Trump. So we'll see if we get an announcement from him. Latest rumors are anywhere in the next 7 to 14 days, 1 to 2 weeks, we may be hearing that announcement from Rob DeSanctimonious, as he was most recently called by Trump on Truth Central. When you're using websites and apps, your device sends out data about you into the open, who you are, where you go, things you like. That data then gets sold around for advertising purposes, which is why every time I connect to the internet, I use a VPN to hide my IP address. And our sponsor, Private Internet Access, is the most trustworthy VPN on the market. It's the only VPN that has proven multiple times in court they don't log your activity. Private Internet Access protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, your internet service provider, tech companies. Private Internet Access is also super fast for streaming and for downloads. You can watch your favorite streaming platforms as if you're in another country, like the UK, to access cool new content. And with just one account, you can protect unlimited devices all at the same time. This is really a game changer. Private Internet Access is giving my audience 83% off. That's $203 a month plus 4 months free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.